Well, welcome along. We're here at the Wolverhampton Grand Theatre on stage because we have a Facebook Live with the History Boys. We have selected members of the cast joining us, and in fact, they're just the other side of the classroom door. So if we can call out our teachers first, looking for Hector, aka in Redford, and Erwin, aka Lee Comley. Please make your entrance. Hello, hello, hello. You do take a seat. Welcome to you both, and let's see who we've got down here. We're looking for Crowther. Crowther, he's here. Adonis Seneca, hello to you. Also, we've got Tim's, Dominic Treacy. What order will they come out? This is good. Here he is. Let's take a seat. We've got Jordan Scowen, aka Dakin.
Jordan.
We're looking for Lockwood, James Schofield. I'd like to probably get a round of applause. What about Joe Wiltshire-Smith, aka Rudge? Not that difficult, there's only two, yeah. And then Akhtar, Aaron Bassi. He comes running into the set. So tighten yourselves up over there. Welcome along. An amazing production. I've already seen it. Absolutely fantastic stuff. And we've got our audience out there who can ask questions. If you want to ask us anything for any of the gang, make sure you do it on the Grand Theatre's Facebook live stream, because that's the one we'll be taking questions from. If you're watching anywhere else, just nip over. Or if you don't want to ask, just stay where you are. So, can I start with the teachers first? Because, hello, gang.
Hello.
And again, you've got to try and control this unruly bunch on stage, and the play doesn't always let you do that, does it?
No, but then it's staged, isn't it? So it's all, in fact, they have more trouble controlling me.
Yeah.
I'm unruly and come up with different, sometimes lines which aren't quite in the play.
Okay, does he do this to you a lot?
Not deliberately. No.
Not at all.
It has been known to be done, isn't it? Yeah.
But a few surprises.
No, but they're great. They're terrific. They're very, very... I mean, it's a very hard job that they have to do because they have to keep that energy up through the whole of the play. They have to listen. They have to be almost like a chorus in a Greek chorus. So I think they do a great job of focusing, concentrating through the whole play and keeping that energy up.
And are you second oldest member of the cast? Is that about right?
Yes.
Only because it fits the part. Obviously, you're paying attention to your retirement.
Jeffrey is slightly older than me, not much, but slightly older than me, yes.
And but you bring the experience and the glamour.
And the glamour, yes, that's right. I am 60. So there you are.
Okay, on to our upstart, basically, Erwin, who's coming here. Lee, I mean, you must be enjoying this role. I mean, you get to open the play, basically, as well, pretty much, don't you?
Yeah, which is terrifying. I open both acts with quite chunky bits of dialogue, so I'm just always terrified, just as I go onto that stage. But yeah, it's such a great role. It's such a great play.
And is this something that you knew about before you came to it? Had you seen the film, etc.?
I'd seen the film, never seen the show, but I'd read the play and I'd seen the film years and years ago, so it was always just kind of a dream role. And I thought, to be fair, I was a little bit too old to play Owen. I thought that'd pass me by, but...
I think did you think he gets away with it? Is he
Well, since the rest of the teachers are ageing up, apart from this Lintop...
But with the whole scenario, it's something that I think we remember, was going to university, which is what this play is really looking at in some way. It was a bit of a novelty then, because... okay, everybody here has probably gone on to further education because you've been doing your acting qualifications and everything like that. Yeah. But certainly in my day, possibly even yours, Lee, it wasn't standard to go to uni, was it? It was increasing in your time, but in our time...
In my time, certainly.
Yeah.
It was you either went to teacher training college or you went to one of the other universities. Only 2 boys in my year went to Oxford out of the whole year, and that was rare because of that. If you didn't do that, then you went into banking and insurance. That was the sort of level of... So if you were below teacher training college, you went into banking and insurance. So in my day, to say that you wanted to be an actor was rare, extraordinary. So yeah, and but the whole thing about I think what I do remember is academic envy, which is what this play is also about. How many O levels you got? How many A levels you got? What university did you go to? What kind of degree did you get?
Yeah.
As if that was important in life. And I think that that's probably the complete opposite. And it changed in the 70s, but now it's changed back into what I call A-star-itis.
Yeah, you've got to
Everybody's
get up there.
obsessed with getting A stars.
But these are all A-star students, basically, aren't they?
They are indeed, because they're all sitting for Oxbridge, so they've got their A's and they've passed with good grades, I should imagine. But so yes, so they're all going through that term where they all enter, which I don't think that happens either now. It happened in the 80s.
Yeah,
this extra term.
This is this weird extra term that came from nowhere. It didn't happen. Well, it certainly didn't happen in my school because I went to Paul Hayes in Wolverhampton and there was no one at all who was looking really for Oxbridge.
Yeah.
I went to Liverpool, and there's a handful of us who went off to uni.
Yeah.
But it was odd to do that, and it was really crazy subjects like I did chemical physics. So what on earth's that all about? But and I end up doing this. So
you did chemistry and physics.
Joint honours in Liverpool.
Hope or
the University of.
University. Oh,
Yeah,
right,
so
okay.
that kept me out of trouble for 3 years. Oh, and like this lot who caused trouble endlessly. So let's have a natter with the boys. So, what's it like all being back in school uniform? Because you probably haven't that long left school uniform, have you?
I got split up 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, okay, some of you are getting on a bit. But it's working, doing fun, wonderful things. But is it a tricky one, actually, trying to get into that mindset again? Because you certainly have a massive amount of fun on stage, the energy's there, and I think that carries on with what we see on the screens behind us, because the way in which this has been brought to the stage means that when you guys are doing a scene change or bringing things in, because you're all basically running around with stuff, we're all watching something on the screen behind you, and it just flows, doesn't it? And it must have been fun both doing that in a real school and what you're doing on stage with that sort of energy.
We just reverted to being kids when we were in the school.
Yeah.
And then putting the school uniform on it just allows you to just become the child that you were when you were in school. Also, the fact that we are a group of 8 boys together and that none of us knew each other before means that we only kind of know each other as this silly group of lads.
But I mean, you've been impressing people out in the town. I mean, we've been asked what you've been doing to pass the time in Wolverhampton when you're not performing. And Samantha Vicker says, OMG, them boys was in the pub last week.
Was it the Weechie?
It could well have been.
Shout out to the Weechie.
Shelley, thank you. So Samantha wanted a selfie. If she'd have realised, she would have got pictures. She just thought you were causing trouble in the pub.
Probably was.
We'll be in the pub again, I'm very sure.
It'll happen. But what else have you been doing around the city? Is it because you've been here for what? Probably about a month nearly now?
Just over, yeah. Yeah, we've,
Horse racing?
Yes, we went to the races.
Yeah.
That was good fun. Last night a few of us went bowling. That was good fun.
Jivans?
Yeah, lots of eating.
Oh yeah,
curry.
we're eating lots of curry.
So have you found a curry house that you like?
Jivans.
So Giovan's, and that's the regular?
And Ian likes Dilshed.
I like Dilshed.
Opposite the stage door.
Yeah. You're happy over there?
But karaoke is our main. We do karaoke about 3 or 4 times a week.
Well, I mean, you guys all get to sing in the show, and the other impressive bit is you've all got blooming amazing voices as well, which you're not entirely sure what to expect when it's a group of, spotty urbans who are doing shit on stage and having a bit of a sing-song. So that works rather well. Okay, running down the line then, without spoilers, favourite moments about your character in the show?
At one point, I don't think this is a massive plot spoiler, I come on eating an apple, which I really enjoy. They're usually prepared before the show. Neve picks up the apple, she's quite particular about it. She's gone to Marks and Spencer's and finds the best apple, so I think that's my favourite part.
But you've got to be an M&S apple.
Yeah, a little M&S apple that I take on and try and eat between then and the next bit of the stage. Actually, I won't mention what that is, but the next bit.
Okay, next.
I mean, I get to have a nice couple of scenes with Lee's character Erwin, and there's a particular line in the second scene which is always a fun one to do because it always gets quite a good reaction from the audience.
Because I don't think
but
most people probably don't realise how funny this play is, do they? Because it is absolutely laugh along all the way through. And even though when we're looking at some serious subjects, you still get to have a laugh around it as well. Okay.
I get to smoke in the middle of the show.
Now, are you normally a smoker?
No. Casting directors and producers.
But yes to everyone else.
It's just wonderful. You don't have to go out at the half time to go for a cigarette because I've just had one.
Yeah, so you're quite happy.
Oh, it's great. It's sort of around town. I'm just wanting a cigarette in the middle of the show.
Yeah, please
Don't smoke, it's really bad for you.
Kids don't do it. Right.
Go on.
There's a lovely moment where Joe eats an apple, and what do I think, I just like, you know what, I genuinely enjoy watching other people do stuff. I think there's quite a lot of scenes where, no, but it is, because there's quite a lot of scenes where the lads are having a lot of fun, and it's a bit of a, it's just quite a pleasure to sit and actually enjoy it.
You're welcome.
Not you.
I think similar to Dom, I think there's a certain scene, French scene, that I think is really fun to do. I think also, because obviously we're just sort of creating raucous stuff throughout, like there are moments where you can just do something quite, so sometimes I might just look at someone and go, "Wah!" And it's that you get away with doing.
But that will fit into the classroom thing, doesn't it, as well?
Yeah, it's exactly, it's part of the fun, you can just be a bit,
So what is it that you do?
Have you not seen him do it?
I mean, or just saying, like, just the fun that we're having is real, I think, as actors as well. We are laughing at each other, which is fun.
Yeah, and again, it's essential for this particular production.
Yeah, definitely.
You see, it would be picking on people. And finally?
I'd say similarly, there's a certain scene towards the end of Act 1 where I think that sort of sense of one after the other relentlessness of the boys sort of just keeps happening. And I think it just, like for me, it's great to just see all of us chiming in, and when one person's having a line, looking at everyone's responses to that and how you're all sort of working as this sort of pack, as it were, as a pack of lads, just to pick off people.
And pick on them.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you think you guys would have survived? Because basically, it is the 80s. You've got probably one computer in the school, if you're lucky. That's probably a BBC Model B, which you can only do teletext graphics. That's for geeks amongst... You understand that? Yeah. But no mobile phones, no internet, and you have a dictionary in the classroom, which features heavily in the show.
Yes, it does, yeah.
Had you ever picked up a dictionary before? Yeah, come on. I can't remember the last time I used a dictionary.
I actually can, very, a couple of weeks ago, because there's a really nice little one in a room in London that I was saying, and I thought...
Normally they provide a Bible in hotels, but this one they've got a dictionary.
I just thought I'd use the dictionary. I thought, oh, I'll look at the dictionary, and I found a word.
Is it one you can share with us or not?
A Bible verse.
I think it was actually a word from the play. I can't remember which. Actually, I tell you what it was.
OTS.
Clandestine. Clandestine.
A word we only just learned.
And and I did use that for the first time, but it was quite a nice experience. I'm quite a big fan of paper. You know, using stuff. I don't like.
Oh my God!
I don't like Kindles.
Because you can't read them in the math.
A4 Schofield.
When I was in school, we only had one computer room. It wasn't like it is now, where there's iPads
Yeah, but
in
just
every
discovered
desk.
you left school
No, I'm
10
really
years
old.
ago,
Yeah,
so you're not quite as old as me, but you're certainly as old as me. No.
When did you leave school?
Oh, I was 1990. I finished my A-levels.
1990?
Yeah.
I finished my A-levels in 1969.
Yeah, 3 years before I was born.
Very old,
Yeah. And did they have a computer then?
No.
Mr. Babbage didn't pop in with a machine?
No, there was no computer. We had a thing with abacus. We had and we had chalk.
Yeah. Slate as well?
Chalk? No slate, but chalk. But I do remember at school having an inkwell and an ink nibs and all that. Yeah.
Oh, you want some of that one?
Yeah.
With a quill.
No, not with a quill.
A wand.
Oh, dear. Right, so we've got the run going right the way through until...
All the way till Saturday.
Saturday, this is the 22nd. What sort of things have you guys got planned afterwards? How do you follow something like this?
Karaoke, probably.
Mostly karaoke, okay. But anything we can talk about?
Well, I'm going to go and I'm going to play Dumbledore in Harry Potter and the what is it called? The Sacred Child?
The Cursed Child.
Yeah, I'm doing that. Starting on 9th of March. I'm going to do it for a year.
So you guys are all going to go see that, I take it?
It'll cost them too much money. No, they'll come for a drink, I expect. I do hope, round the pubs, round the theatre. But no, it's far too expensive.
Well, a shout out for some of the people watching on. Helen Hayward says she can't wait to see it tomorrow. She also shout out to Helena.
Thanks.
Dominic Smith, hi to you. Kelly Jeff, Steve Lacey, Tracy Rose. Loads of people popping up and tuning in. So what is the one essential thing for each of you we need to know about the play? And having seen you guys at the press launch and where you basically introduce yourself as just we're the boys, I dread to think what I'm going to get from this corner. But what do you think is the underlying message without, again, too many spoilers, something like that?
The underlying message?
Yeah, how do you see it?
Well, I see. What's the point of education? The underlying message is that's what the play talks about. What is education? What is examinations? What is school supposed to be about? Is it supposed to be about passing exams, or is it about learning something for the future, vision for the future? But I think they should also expect the fact that school can be fun, or this particular school is.
Yeah.
So I'd say that.
Okay, Lee, anything?
Same with that, really. I think, but also
you're copying. Okay.
I'm copying, but also Bennett's kind of getting you to consider your own thoughts about education. He's kind of prompting lots of questions, and certainly my friends and family who've been to see it have said they've kind of left the theatre and it's kind of sat with them for a good few days afterwards as they consider the things that are talked about. And there are some kind of deeper things that happen with Hector's character, certainly, that you kind of sit and ruminate on afterwards.
Yeah, and I can't say too much other than, without causing spoilers, but there's things in there which
problematic.
Problematic and troubling, but equally that haven't troubled people as much as you would anticipate in some ways. And I think that's an interesting takeaway from the way the story's told, and may not always be the case.
I think it's because Hector's shown as a three-dimensional person. He's not restricted to this one particular issue and thing that happens, which also then you then leave questioning how you really feel about Hector as a character and how you feel about the whole play. And that's a positive thing, that we go away and consider those sorts of things.
You've got to think about it.
Yeah, you've got to think about it, yeah.
And I think there are a lot of questions that are raised.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's about being a human being. I think that's
the thing
what
with
the play is about. And human beings are flawed.
Yeah.
And however much you to emulate them and make them into sort of heroes. And what the new education thing is to try and make perfect human beings with perfect results. And life isn't like that. Life outside isn't like that. We all have got a shadow side, a dark side. And I think Hector doesn't shy away from that. In the same way that they do in Jerusalem, it's the same thing. You don't shy away from the fact. We live in a world where we're all micromanaged and watched and offsteaded, and people are looking at us now. There's so much control. There's no freedom, and I think that being freedom involves being dangerous, involves being slightly edgy, and that's lost now. So I think that's what the play is the passing of that kind of teaching.
Can any of you talk that? Silence from the boys. Okay.
I don't know. I feel like the play means different things to all of us, because from my perspective, this is a play that deals with class and elitism and is about the kind of ideal that people from the state school have a kind of more myopic sense of what the world is. And again, I think what Jeffrey, who plays the headmaster, his views on the world as well is that people don't matter if they don't are not meeting Russell Group universities or Oxbridge League, which is entirely untrue, and that having a sort of a completely elite education is not a measure of a person or themselves, I think, really. That's what I think about it anyway.
There was a great educationist called A.S. Neil who wrote, "I'd rather have a happy dustman than an unhappy Prime Minister." And it was an unhappy Prime Minister introduced this education in the 80s. So, well, she might have been happy, but she certainly didn't make other people happy.
Anybody else anything to add?
I think as well, for the 8 lads, it's very much a coming-of-age story. And I think that, in varying different ways for all of us, that, this time and this age bracket for us as well, 17, 18, 19, you sort of, there's a lot going on. And I think at the heart of it, you have all our individual stories, whatever they may be and stuff, which just sort of fuels the bigger idea that the play's about, I guess, because they're vulnerable, but they're also at an age where they're getting a bit more confident and they're trying, do you know what I mean? And so I think it all fuels that central sort of pivot.
Well, it is an amazing play. We've got one more quick question before we go, and this comes from Aaron Baker. Advice for a young actor about to graduate uni. Again, a couple of words.
Don't give up.
Keep going. Yeah.
Don't give up, and don't take no for an answer.
I think stay creative, even if you're not in a job, an acting job. Do your own stuff. Stay creative.
You've got to pay the bills, and the acting jobs will come in between that. And it's when you get the big one and end up on a soap opera or something, that's when it all goes absolutely mad. Well, I mean, thank you all for joining us. History Boys is here, an in-house production at Wolverhampton's Grand Theatre, right the way through until Saturday the 22nd of February. 01902 42921 is the box office number. grandtheatre.co.uk is where you get your tickets online. Make sure you come and see these boys and a couple of others. And all the teaching cast too. And don't be too shocked with some of the language that the teachers come out with. It is interesting. But thank you all. Enjoy the rest of your time here. Break a leg. And we look forward to maybe seeing more of you guys in future productions. Cheers for joining us.